let me first with the white color I start. Tiny bit blue I will add, tiny bit brown, very less, and then pre-mix this color to see what happens. And it depends how much your canvas size. If it's really big, so you need more amount of paint to premix. And we can make by blue and brown with the white, we can make some like this color, which is a little gray, bluey, gray, browny, something in between. And it's warm gray color, not just mix your black with the white. With that mixture, you can reach cool gray color, and we don't need that. We need warm gray color. For warm gray color, you can mix blue and brown with the white and reach warm gray. That's useful, but I see a little bit more blue inside. It's more browny, just a bit blue I will add, and you see little by little I add and mix to see what happened. I don't want to see huge change, and I'm happy with the color that I have now. So I use this color and a little bit pure white for here. That's good for the top part. A little darker we need to mix for this part. So the same color, but a little more blue and brown I will add to reach darker tone. Start to choose the top of my cottage would be here, and the bottom part would be here. I choose the space, and then try to draw the triangle shape of top. This is the big triangle shape on top. To draw it. And then connect here and there. It's like a cube. You can continue with one line there and the rest. It's not much. Bring it down. And this is for the roof. I can add a little tone on top to be separate. And the rest is covered by the trees, but I will add that later. It's a tiny part here that it's a start from this part of the house, sorry, cottage. The details with the white roof and everything, we will do it later. I just add to separate the cottage from the other part to be visible. That's for the small part. And then the rest is covered by this tree, and then the cone tree will come a little bit on top. And then the snow part here, then the sky and mountain is on top. Start with this light color that I make. So simple. I start from the top of my canvas, add a tone here. Even you can bring it down because the mountain is melt to the sky color and all is the same. Just with some brush stroke, we can make them separate from each other. So you can add this color everywhere from top of your roof to the end of your canvas. And it's really lovely to use heavy paint like that. This is heavy paint because it gives you a chance to be more time to get dry. You know that acrylic is dry so fast. So if you would like to have a blending to that, like this, these are blend together, fade together. And if you would like to see something like that, which is happen in oil color, not acrylic, we need to take heavy paint and let it be wet more than the regular time. So at the same time, when you use heavy paint, you can bring another color on top, which is darker tone. Even I can add a little pure white color when I move on toward right. So as I mentioned, the sky part, it's more light color. So pure white color, bring it, and you can help these two colors mix together. You see very nice blend together, and no line create. But when one color get completely dry, you bring another color on top they cannot mix together and give you just the separation line between them. And for sky, we don't need that separation line. Because of that, it's better to use heavy paint to let it be wet, and at the same time bring the lighter color on top and add this section a little light, then back again to this for the mountain. That's work too. And then I move on toward this darker tone, add a little bit tone here, and I let it mix with the first color. So it's already dark and light together. Even we can do like that to make some brush stroke to show this texture on top. And when you bring the second color, the first color we add heavy. The second color is the one that we bring darkness on top. So it can be gentle with less pressure, and try to add this heavy paint and with the texture very gently on top to make the shape of mountain. And the reason I am going to add less pressure because I don't want to lift up the first color, which is still wet. I'll add touch so smooth and soft. Imagine you would like to touch your hands so smooth and soft. Do with the brush the same with your canvas. And you see the first color is wet. When I add the dark tone on top very gently, they mix together and blend together and happen very beautiful blending. Even you can turn your brush like this to do some details like that. And you can let it a little bit pure brown to add for those darkness. I don't clean my brush because the first color is so useful to have be inside the brush. It can help me to blend again. Because this is the landscape on distance, I don't want to be really clear. The cone tree and these are clear. The one that on mountain should be fade. Even if you would like to have more bluey tone, we can bring the feeling of more blue on top of the brown. Or even cobalt blue you can use as well. And when you add this kind of brush stroke, you can make lots of trees on top of your mountain. Again, back to this dark tone. And we can repeat and repeat this brush stroke to feel happy with the distance and mountain. The only bad time that it's better stop and not do painting is the time that our acrylic start to get dry, and your painting, you can feel it, it's sticky. When you see your brush stroke move on the sticky surface, please not touch anymore. Leave it get completely dry, and again on top you can work on it 100 times. You can work on your acrylic paint, so no worries if some parts get dry. Even if I want to work on this one again, I can clean my brush, take some paint, bring it again on top like that, and now it's wet. So if I want to work again, I make that part wet and then move on with the dark tone and let it blend together. easily you can color whole this cottage with the same reddish brown. And I really love to use heavy paint because I can make a texture, and this is one reason. The other is I can add the other color on top of it and make it more accurate and make it more blend together like like oil. And I think I need to change the shape a little bit more to make it longer here. As I mentioned, always you can fix the shape. So make it longer. And make sure not to go inside the white part of the other tiny cottage for the roof. We need to be white on the top. And even here, I just add some tone here, but it's covered by cone tree. So I'm not accurate on this section. And then it's wet. On top, I move on with the pure darker brown. Exactly on the edges of here, it's a little darker. I can add a tone here, darker. Very gentle, just very nice touch it. And then some brush stroke, it's here. One time I will add one stroke. And one here I can see these are melting to the building and it's not the details on top. And this part it's a little more dark. So I add some stroke with the darker brown here. And then leave it get dry, I think. Even I use my reddish brown, but I feel it's nice to have a warm red on top as well. So I'm using my red too. A little bit nice red color, it's interesting to have. I have one stroke there and one stroke on the left and right, just that enough. Like this. And then let it dry, please. Even before it's dry, one line as a darkness on the other side we need to have. And then on top we will bring the snow. But the first one, which is darker tone, should be dry. This one. With the tip of flat brush, very gently I will add here on top of the darkness. Even you can leave it like that with the texture, but because it's a snow. And then move on with the pure white color to add more. Touch it with pure white color, as not everywhere. You can add a little bit here and there. It should be like a line. And then I leave this dark brown on top. Then move on with the lighter color with heavy texture. Add one stroke, very gentle, like this, to be visible. It's dry brush, so I don't add any water in my brush. I would like to use this creamy style of paint and heavy paint to see a little texture of a snow on top. And with less pressure in my hand, I just play with my hand pressure. If I want to get rid of the white of canvas, like this part, I add a pressure to see my paint sit on top. If I would like to show some details more, a little texture, very gentle, try to add my paint on top, and then with very less pressure, add a stroke like this. And even it's a little bit heavy. And make sure the brown color of roof should be dry. Now in some part, I would like to bring pure white color. Take some, a little bit here on top. The top part is more pure white color. And then wait for this to get dry. Now I can move on for the smaller one. Just one stroke on this part, it should be. And then the other is on top. But I would like to use it very less pressure to see. You can already see this brownie under the brush stroke that you have here. I take my green color, little bit brown, a little darker. The Hooker green is already dark, but a little darker would be okay to use. And then we need the flat brush, the same flat brush that you paint so far. Use the tip of your brush. The shape of contour start from here. It look like the triangle shape and cover whole this part. So I start with the tip, which is tiny, and then when we move down, it's get bigger and bigger. I start to add here, just some brush stroke very gently on top, and you see this is so much darker than the color that we add before. And then you can shape it, take heavy paint, more interesting. And with the tip of your brush, you can shape like cone tree. And make sure we need between each part a little bit to see this background. It's not just the triangle shape come down. And then even you can use the flat brush, the tip, and then the side of your flat brush to shape your cone tree more accurate. Shape of trees, the leaves actually, or these branches are all fall down, toward down. And then, as I mentioned, we can bring it on top of the roof a little bit more. So because of that, I didn't finish the shape of roof. I just bring the heavy texture of tree. And let me bring close to camera. You can see how much texture I have. I hope in an angle be visible. I leave it paint to sit here with texture. I don't make it flat. Heavy paint like that, I take like this, leave it like that to be visible and feel it. It's so lovely. After you bring the snow on top and everything get dry, when you touch your painting, you can feel this texture. So I have this light value, same as before that we premixed for the sky. And now I would like to add this one, which is a little darker. So again, back to blue, brown, less brown, please, more blue better. And then a little white to add. This is good for the shadow part on the snow. has light and dark tone. And now I would like to bring some pure white color on top and bring it here exactly on top of this part, pure white color. And try very gently, help it sit on top, because if you add a little pressure, it can lift up the first color. Just on the edges, add the white color, and then clean your brush with napkin. Move on again with this dark color. I shade a little like a bumpy shape, and back to this darker tone, close to the edge of white. And you see how much difference they have. Just add a little tone on it. Move on with this lighter tone again, not the pure white, a little light and dark that you pre-mixed before. It's a snow, so it's better not to be like a line and straight. It's better to bring it a little bit up and down, close to your cottage, and cover it with the light tone. Just I'm going to add the dark close to this white color to make these two hills separate from each other. And then I move on with the lighter tone. Close to cottage a little, go inside and shape it. Even heavy paint, always lovely to have when you are close. Here it's the part that it's close to us. And then when we would like to show it's the snow, it's better to be heavy and more texture to be visible. On the stems, I'm not going to add a lots of white. Just a bit would be enough. Some stroke close to cottage. That would be okay. But if you would like to add more white color, you can bring it in front. A little bit texture. Like that. And it looked like the road toward the house, toward the cottage. And the road is a little dark. So I don't want to let it dry. Just a bit like a road to make on top of this white tone. Like this curve, gentle C curve. I bring it separate till here. And then a little C curve there. I take pure brown color. There is no mixture on this one. And then straight, take my brush and try to add beside my cottage. Try to add the shape of this tree. It's just a bunch of lines close together. And it's like that. Randomly, you can add some branches like this and make it busy and busy and busy. Even if you are not good in the line and you make the line so thick, doesn't matter because we add a little snow on top and we can cover it. Even here, it's more dark pressure together. And when we move on up, a little more narrow and separate from each other. more blue, a little bit like that, like an oval shape. Even sometimes you can cover it by some texture of this color when you move on. Here is more visible when you are close to the edge of the canvas. When you move on toward the cottage, it goes smaller and smaller. Or even just the darkness as a line would be fine to add. That show these are the footsteps. So small, and here a little bigger and be visible. The dark brown color start to adding there like the square, and I bring the light color inside, but that it's more visible. So just not a square, it's a little rectangle shape. And with the pure orange color, I just add a tone inside. It's not very visible that what's inside, but a little bit tone of orange, and make it fade by reddish brown. It's more interesting to have some details. And a little bit faded here, yeah. And even some tiny here square as a window. And this is a Christmas wreath here. I just make a circle and then bring the green in on top. And with the blue, it's just a door. So I add the blue like this. Just one movement with this blue color, but it's dark, I know. On top, I bring the brown as a stroke to cover it. It's interesting to have blue and brown on top. Yeah, that's great. And even I have some shadow here as a, I don't know, it's the details of the window or even part of the door. And a tiny bit for here, this one. I can make it dark. Then on top, I will bring with the orange. Even inside this window, I'm coming with, it's look like the light inside, so I'm going to add with the orange lighter tone inside the window. Or even if you are not happy with the color that you think it's really dark, just some interesting brush stroke would be okay to mix your red and orange, or maybe more red. Dry brush, I would like to bring one stroke here on top of the window. Just play with the value and the colors to make it more colorful. And then it helped that the cottage be more colors, have more colors. We have the base as a brown, but we bring some tone. On top with the orange and the red. gently add some tone randomly on top of your tree like that. And shape it as a snow. Even in the center of tree, we can move on like this. Please make sure not to cover all the trees or all the leaves and everything. We need to add a little bit and keep that greeny part on top be visible.